I think it's about time we talk about an issue with Modern Warfare Zombies, and it's kind of two things combined, and what they are a problem with casual play and a problem with replayability. Now, to be clear right off the bat, I'm not trying to be negative about it just to be negative, right? Because I was one of the very few people when the first trailer dropped saw that and said, hey, this actually looks pretty cool. I was really excited for what the game was going to be, and everybody else was just blindly hating on it. And of course it comes out and a lot of people's perspective changes to fit what I probably thought about it. Now, obviously I didn't have sky high expectations for it, but I still thought it was going to be pretty solid, and it turned out exactly to be what I thought it was going to be, and I was happy with that. But even back then, I had major concerns, and all of those concerns still seem to be a problem. And of course, the two we're going to be talking about are the ones I just mentioned, that problem with replayability and casual play. And let's start off with the casual play. Now, I want to ask you guys a question about this game mode, right? How do you casually play Modern Warfare Zombies? Like, how do you do that? Because it's pretty easy for round-based zombies, right? You just get in the game and you just play a couple rounds, like to round 20 or something. You pack punch, get some perks, and that's it. You don't really have to do anything else. That's how you casually play the game. This is, of course, why you see maps like 9, Kino, and ones like that are very popular for casual players, because they work really well for that play. But now we switch that over to Modern Warfare Zombies. How do you casually play it? Is it just staying in zone 1 and doing contracts in zone 1, or is it just going to zone 2 and doing contracts there, or what exactly is it? Because I can tell you something that it's not by doing camel grinds, it's not by doing missions and grinding through them, or especially I would even argue it's not even going into zone 3, let alone zone 4 or whatever you want to call it, right? Like doing all that, including boss fights and story missions, all that, I wouldn't consider that to be casual play, because all of that is quite difficult. Even just the story mission for Act 4 that we got, I would argue most casual players can't do that successfully. And it's very interesting to see this kind of switch here, because I don't see very many options to play this game casually, and that is a huge switch from what we had in Treyarch's last game with Cold War. Like, everything they did was trying to make it more casual friendly, right? They made Easter eggs easier, they made high rounds easier, they just made the whole experience a lot easier, and that of course was directed to make things more accessible to a casual audience. And now we see with this game that, like, how exactly are you playing this game casually? Because like I said, the only things I could think of is just like staying in zone 1 and 2 and doing contracts, but like, what is the point in doing that, to be completely honest? Like, the whole point of an extraction based game like this is to collect loot and exfil with that loot, but like, you're not going to be able to really do that staying in zone 1 and 2 the whole time just doing contracts. Like, you're going to have to do something more, and I think that what I'm saying here is that it's just not fun to play the game casually, and that's a problem, because it's fun to play round-based casually, just getting to round 20 or whatever, and just, or at least till you die, like that is fun, but just doing contracts, like, I don't really know if that really is it. Now, of course, this is just my perspective on this. I could be completely wrong here, and maybe you guys like that way of playing casually, or even more than that, maybe there's a way I'm not even thinking about how you play this game casually, but right now I just struggle to understand the appeal of the casual play of this game. And I say casual because I do think the hardcore play of this game is actually pretty good. There's a lot of different things you could do, whether it's the story missions, camo grinds, boss fights, zone 3, zone 4, whatever it may be. There's a lot of options there for hardcore play, but the problem is that I don't think most of that is accessible to a casual audience, or if it is, you're just going to die a lot, and that doesn't seem a lot of fun. And on that note, it kind of brings me into another issue I've seen with this game, and that is the replayability of it. And I think this plays off of the two things I just said, because one thing that alone I think hurts the replayability of any game is the lack of that casual play. Because even as hardcore players, like, we don't want to be doing the hardcore stuff constantly. We want to sometimes just get on and casually play the game, right? We all do that. No matter how hardcore of a player you are, if you played round-based, like, instead of doing the Easter egg or whatever you normally would do, high rounds or whatever, you would just get on, casually play with some friends and not have to worry about doing anything else, just have a good time. And the lack of having that casual play already hurts that replayability. But it's not only that, but even the parts that I like about this game, the boss fights, the story missions, or even the camel grind, whatever it may be, going into all the different tiers, like all that. But there's at a point where, like, why are you still going to be doing these over and over again? Because like in zone 3, once you get all the schematics there, like why are you grinding zone 3 anymore? Or even with the dark ether areas, once you get all the schematics or all the things you want there, like why are you going to be coming back over and over again? Like what is the point of doing that? And the boss fights too, this is probably the part that I think has the most replayability, that you can just run the boss fights over and over again because it's a challenge. But if that's all the replayability there is for a hardcore player, like I don't think that's enough, because we don't have the other options to try to run it back over and over again. A lot of these can't even be speedruns, or you can't do it better or faster before, especially with the hardest one, like the red worm. You literally can't speedrun that. That's all based off of just waiting till the end of the game, right? Because there's a timer, and that's the only time you can actually get there. And it just makes it impossible to speedrun to make it even any better or challenge yourself even any more. And also, I don't think it helps that the only boss fights that we got, the 3 that we do, are all kind of the same thing. They're all the worm. And don't get me wrong, they're cool boss fights. I have a ton of fun with them, but like, you know, wanting a little bit variety, I don't think is wrong at all, right? Like, I think a lot of us would appreciate having some variety to our boss fights. And I'm sure that this complaint will disappear in the future when we get more of boss fights and more variety of boss fights, and that'll be great. But still, at this point, that's just a complaint I have about it. And all of this really is to say that I just don't know how you make this game replayable, really, because like I don't know if this is just a fundamental issue with this style of game, because like I said, it's an extraction based game. The whole idea is getting all the loot that you want, and my question is like, once you get all that loot, once you get all the schematics, why do you come back to play over and over again? Like, why will you be playing this game every single day or multiple times a week over and over again? For the hardcore players, of course. For the casual players, that's different, but still, for those hardcore players, why are you coming back over and over again? And to me, I struggle with this, and it's the reason why I haven't been playing it a lot. I really just haven't been playing it a lot since season 1 was dropped. And don't get me wrong, I loved that what season 1 added. I made a whole video talking about how great it was, and as much as fun I had and as impressed as I was with that drop, I still think that there might just be a fundamental issue with this style of game where it's just not as replayable. And this could just be me. Like, this whole thing just could be my perspective, and a lot of people feel a lot different. And if you do, feel free to explain exactly why you find the casual play fun, or even why you find it very replayable, because I'd love to hear that, because right now I'm struggling to find a reason to get on and play over and over again outside of just doing boss fights. Like, at this point, the only time I ever want to get on is just for challenges, try out one of the boss fights. That's literally the only time I'm playing this game, and I just don't think that should be the only reason I find the game replayable. But like I said, those are just my thoughts, and if you guys agree or disagree, tell me exactly why down in the comment section below. Regardless though, that's going to wrap it up for me. If you guys did enjoy the video, I appreciate it if you guys dropped a like, subscribe, bell, share, or any of that great stuff. But I'm going to go, and I'll catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever the heck it may be. And laters, guys.